nothing bad ever happens in the subway. However, here are two total fantasies about sinister things going down in the subway tunnels under our cities. The first thing you notice about 1972's Deathline, also known as Raw Meat, but Deathline is a much better title, is the funky opening theme music, which rules. We are often running on something promising. The credits deliver treats like Donald Pleasence and Christopher Lee. Also, it's directed by Gary Sherman, whose next film, 1981's Dead and Buried, is one of the best titles I've seen doing this series. So I'm stoked, I really am. We follow a proper English dude as he attempts to return home from shopping for nudie books, apparently. He accosts a woman on the subway platform who then kicks him in the junk.
Payment on delivery, my darling.
Later, a couple gets off their train and finds that man slumped over on the subway steps. They argue about reporting it and then finally report it, but by then the man is gone. Pleasance stars as the policeman on the case, and at first I was kinda bummed that Pleasance was just going to be playing a cop, but worry not, he's nutty.
Well, you know, sir, there's no crime being committed.
Find out what you can about James Manfred, OBE, and get him on a blower for me.
No crime has been committed. It's not really our case. If this guy's so important, we should get onto MI5 and let them take care of it.
First, let's find out if Manfred is missing, shall we?
Yes, sir. It's probably a very good idea.
Cahoon. What? Manfred? Took long enough, didn't it? Put him on. Well, James Manfred, please. What? Oh, you're his secretary, are you? Yes. James never stops going on about you. What? When do you expect him back? Oh. Missed the morning meeting with the minister, did he? Naughty. Naughty boy. That doesn't sound like James at all. What? Tell him Princess Anne.
Princess Anne?
Piss off.
The plot of the film is then basically revealed as someone explains to Pleasance that almost a century earlier, a group of workers, both men and women, were trapped in a subway cave-in and never found.
Get on with it, Richardson.
Then the next scene confirms the very grotesque reality that there's been a society of incestuous British chuds attacking people in the subway. Although that number quickly dwindles to 1, and while he's violent and gross, the movie does a decent job at making him mildly sympathetic. Pleasance investigates, and the couple from the opening scene remains involved inexplicably. Boy, I bet the train to Cockfosters is a non-stop party. There's really not much more to Deathline than I've already described, but it's still a worthwhile watch. Just know that Christopher Lee only appears in one brief scene and has nothing at all to do with the plot. That's its biggest flaw. But Pleasance is an absolute delight here, and his lively performance helps balance out the awfulness of the actual story. Check it out. A couple years later, a similar tale of subway carnage was born, also with a funky theme song. Although it starts in 200 BC China, where a demon is put in a box and then thrown in a hole. Flash forward to modern day, and it's quickly obvious that this is one of those $15 funded by a local dry cleaner no one is actually an actor things. Our hero is played by a man named Warhawk Tanzania, which is a great name for an action movie character. However, in this film, Warhawk Tanzania plays a martial arts master named Sifu. Yes, Sifu. At least that's what people call him. People like his best friend Rodan. Yeah, Rodan. Sifu and Rodan take a trip to Hong Kong, so Sifu can achieve his 9th plane of whatever. Rodan, who has nothing better to do, finds the demon pit and steals the medallion that's been keeping the demon in the box. Ancient Chinese demon, eh?
What?
Demon Thing attacks a dude waiting for the boat to New York and turns him into a zombie, but not the hopping kind. He finally arrives in the New York subway, and now there's a monster in the subway. Meanwhile, our star spends time with his special lady friend, and damn dude, how many times did you graduate? Then he and Rodan are basically drug dealers, and everything devolves into a gang war because of drugs. And luckily, it's that era of New York where everyone knows karate. Also, the Chinese gang all has matching t-shirts, which is awesome. Elsewhere, the cops continue to investigate the murders happening in the subway.
You want to know what I think?
Yeah.
About 4 years ago, there was a story in the papers. It seems that when they were building the old subways, they had to break through the sewers. And it seems that a lot of workmen broke through the sewers and were attacked by animals. These were animals that had become mutant. Dogs, cats, rats, alligators, all the throwaways. And they had developed senses that other animals didn't have. Fangs, claws. They were wild. They lived off each other. Survival of the species. And they attacked the workmen. Now, I think it's very possible that those workmen did not seal up the sewers the way they should have been sealed up, and that those animals are roaming through the subways.
This guy is so passionately explaining a plot that isn't this movie. It's weird. Also, did I see Brother Theodore from The Burbs for like half a second? One thing leads to another, and basically Sifu has to put on a pair of gold lame overalls and head into the subway to battle the demon, which I think he does. I honestly have no idea what happens at the end of this movie. Devil's Express is kinda trash. I mean, I wanna like it because Warhawk Tanzania and bad kung fu and all that, but this thing is a mess. Maybe with a group it might be fun, and alcohol. Otherwise, yeah, I just don't know.
Bust ass all over the goddamn place.
Look, Jam, you do not come to my turf talking about busting ass. You gotta bring some to get some.
Now look, goddammit, I came here asking you for help. I think we'd all be a lot better off if we worked together on this thing.
Take your hand off of me.
Here will help you.
Does this have something to do with China?